The vast, red-hued landscape of Akir 9 stretched endlessly under a violet sky, broken only by jagged mountains and the eerie glow of twin moons. The wind howled, a constant reminder of the planet's hostile nature, and the air, thin and unbreathable to human lungs, shimmered with a faint haze. For the people of the Federation, this desolate world was known as a paradise for bounty hunters, if they could survive it. Raven Thorn, one of the most notorious snipers in the galaxy, crouched behind a series of broken rocks. Her eyes, sharp as ever, scanned the horizon through the lens of her high-powered sniper rifle. The rifle's scope, designed for precision from miles away, glinted under the two moons as her fingers rested on the trigger. Beside her, her partner, a grizzled human named Jack, shifted uneasily, his gaze flicking nervously between the shifting shadows and the alien ship looming nearby. "Are you sure about this?" Jack asked, his voice gruff. "I mean, it's a long shot, Raven. You're asking for a miracle." Raven's lips curled into a tight smile. "I don't rely on miracles, Jack. Just good old-fashioned skill." Jack gave a skeptical glance toward the alien ship. The vessel had crashed on Akir 9 just 2 days ago, a high-profile target of the galactic military. Inside it, the notorious alien assassin Calthyra, a deadly predator from the Xantha species, had holed up with a priceless artifact that the Federation would pay handsomely for. Raven and Jack had been tasked with eliminating her, an almost impossible mission, considering Calthyra's abilities and the advanced technology at her disposal. "She's inside and she's not coming out anytime soon," Jack muttered. "You think you can really hit her from here? We're talking nearly 1,000 yards. Raven didn't respond immediately. Instead, she adjusted the settings on her rifle, aligning the crosshairs with precision. Her fingers danced across the controls of her targeting system, calculating wind speed, atmospheric pressure, and the subtle shifts in gravity. Her body was perfectly still, every muscle relaxed, every breath measured. "She'll come out. She always does," Raven said quietly. "And when she does, I'll be ready." Middle. The wind began to pick up, howling across the barren plains as the moons climbed higher. Raven's focus never wavered, but Jack couldn't shake the feeling of unease creeping up his spine. He knew Raven was good. Hell, she was legendary, but this was different. Calthyra wasn't some random target. She was one of the galaxy's deadliest assassins, a being capable of bending light and manipulating energy to create deadly illusions. "They're coming," Raven said, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. She raised a hand to Jack, signaling for him to stay down. "She's about to make her move." Through the scope, Raven saw the faint shimmer of movement near the entrance of the alien ship. Calthyra's form became visible, tall, slender, her green skin glinting under the pale moonlight. Her long, flowing hair trailed behind her like a silken ribbon, but there was something more deadly than beauty in her eyes. Raven's breath caught as she watched the alien scan the horizon, her multifaceted eyes glowing with an eerie light. Calthyra was surrounded by a group of heavily armed mercenaries, all standing in formation, weapons drawn. They had been hired to guard the alien assassin while she retrieved the artifact. Raven knew that a single shot could take out Calthyra, but the mercenaries would be a problem. They were the ones she had to eliminate first. Raven adjusted her rifle again, her heart rate steady, her mind sharp. She wasn't just aiming for Calthyra. She was aiming for the perfect shot, something that would take out the alien and her guards without anyone ever knowing it had come from miles away. Jack clenched his fists, the tension thick in the air. He watched as Calthyra slowly walked away from the entrance of the ship, her body moving with a fluid grace that belied her lethal nature. It was now or never. Raven's finger tightened on the trigger. The shot rang out, cutting through the air like a sonic boom. Raven's marksmanship was unparalleled, but she knew Calthyra wouldn't go down so easily. The shot had been precise, targeting the alien's weak spot, but the moment it left her rifle, the unexpected happened. Calthyra didn't flinch. She didn't dodge. Instead, she smirked. Impossible! Calthyra's voice echoed across the plain, her eyes flashing with amusement. In a split second, the sniper's shot was deflected, ripped out of the air by an invisible force. The bullet exploded in a burst of energy, sending a shock wave of light into the night sky. Raven's jaw clenched. She had underestimated her opponent. The alien assassin wasn't just fast. She was incredibly powerful. What Raven hadn't known was that Calthyra possessed the ability to manipulate kinetic energy, redirecting any projectile that came near her. The sniper's perfect shot had been rendered useless in an instant. "You thought you could kill me from this distance, human?" Calthyra's voice carried across the open plains, laced with contempt. "You are a fool." Raven felt a surge of frustration, but she didn't allow it to cloud her judgment. Calthyra was dangerous, but Raven had something the alien didn't: patience. If the sniper couldn't make a direct hit, she would find another way. "Jack, move. Now," Raven commanded. Jack didn't need to be told twice. He sprinted toward the nearby ridge, moving with swift, practiced motions. The two had been through too many missions together to hesitate now. Raven's mind was already working ahead, calculating her next move. If Calthyra had the ability to deflect bullets, she had to find a way to force the alien into a vulnerable position. Ding. As Jack moved into position, Raven adjusted the settings on her rifle once more. This time, she wasn't aiming for Calthyra. Instead, she focused on the alien's mercenaries. 4 of them standing just outside the range of the ship's entrance. Raven's eyes narrowed. The first mercenary fell with a soft thud as a high-velocity round tore through his helmet. The second mercenary, caught off guard, tried to return fire but was silenced by a well-placed shot that took him in the throat. The remaining 2 scrambled for cover, but Raven was already recalculating. Calthyra, distracted by the sudden chaos, turned her attention to the mercenaries. Raven took advantage of the brief opening. In a flash of motion, Raven repositioned, using the wind and terrain to her advantage. She steadied her breath and let her rifle do the rest. Single shot rang out. Calthyra, just as she was about to unleash her energy blast, staggered back. The sniper's bullet pierced her energy shield, finding its mark at the base of her skull. Calthyra's eyes widened in disbelief as she collapsed to the ground, her form crumpling in a heap. Her mercenaries, now leaderless and confused, were quickly taken out by Jack, who had positioned himself for the perfect angle. Raven stood, her rifle lowering as she surveyed the scene. "Mission accomplished," she said, a small smile tugging at the corner of her lips. Despite the almost impossible odds, she had done it. Jack approached, shaking his head. "I can't believe you actually pulled it off. That was insane." Raven didn't answer. She simply stared at the alien's body, now lifeless on the rocky ground. In the end, it was all about patience. She'd waited for the right moment, and it had paid off.